Alright guys, welcome back. Today we have the top 100 of the World Championship qualifier top 100 decks that we are going to take a look at today, taking a look at the meta, at specific decks people have used. We have a lot of lists already. We won't take a look at all of them. This is a bit too much, but we want to see how the diversity was. And I take a pick, or I've taken a quick peek, and it seems pretty nice. We have the first place overall in the entire world playing Crystron. I wasn't expecting this, honestly, but I guess it makes sense. If you play a deck for a long time, then you obviously are very good with it. Every deck has a specific ceiling. I didn't think that Crystron's ceiling was that high, but apparently it was. We are playing the Millennium engine, not the Horus engine, interestingly. I personally think the Horus engine might be better, but then again, I might also not really understand why the Millennium engine might be the better one. Yeah, we have obviously also access to these level 8s here, to a zombie vampire milling, which makes sense. I was under the impression that the Horus cards are better because I can use them to send, and also the sarcophagus, to send stuff to the graveyard, basically. But I also do understand that all of the Millennium cards are basically combo, whereas if you open with these two bricks from the Horus engine, which would be happy, and the other one, Duamutev, I think, or Kabeshnuev, depending on which one you play, and then these are actually bricks, and all of these 7 cards here are non-bricks, which I guess is what makes this better. We are playing a Ghost Ogre, we are playing DD Crow, very interesting. I saw some DD Crows. I'm always not the biggest fan of DD Crow, honestly, because it's a -1 trade card in comparison to, for example, the Bestials. Obviously, DD Crow can hit a lot of different stuff in the graveyard, also spell cards, but the Bestials, if they are basically negated, they will stay in the hand and you can use them afterwards, whereas a DD Crow is just gone. Other than that, nothing too special here. We are playing Smigar, Theistvern, only one Zalfefnir. I think this is more of a special aspect because normally you have more of this. This is a starter together with another Crystron card. We are playing 42 cards. But I guess this deck list is optimized for consistency, because if you play, or if you draw the Sulfur Door, this also works together with, for example, an Inclusion. And yeah, the guy went and got the first place in the entire world. Apparently he was already qualified, because I heard this, not quite sure, you can let me know in the comments if you have more information on this, but I think this is a player who has topped 2 Duelist Cups before, so he was already invited twice, if that's correct, which obviously would be crazy. In the extra deck, nothing too special, Cyber Infinity, we have the Axis Synchro, you can go into a Baron with that, and then we have the Boss Monster, Quarion Drax, obviously the Snake Eyes, Doom Dragon, and yeah, Crystron first place. So for everyone doubting that Crystron is a good deck, here you go. Then we obviously have Snake Eyes list, we can quickly take a look at them. We don't want to go into too many details when it comes to the Snake Eyes list. We have Pilgrim Reaper, 2 level 6 monsters, and it says this card gains attack, blah blah blah. You can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Each player sends the top 5 cards from the deck to the graveyard. Okay, I was under the impression XYZ material, so I need an XYZ monster detached, but obviously this is referring to the materials. So we can mill 5, so that's basically like a zombie vampire that you can also make with the Fiendsmith engine. I guess that makes the deck more consistent. If you start with the Fiendsmith stuff, then you also have the opportunity to mill something into the graveyard, and then maybe climb up into Promethean Princess, revive, I don't know, maybe a Snake Eyes Ash or whatever you have hit there. So this obviously is for max consistency. Other than that, we are playing nothing super special here. Once again, the Millennium engine, I've talked about that the Millennium engine might see some hits. If you have not seen my video on the ban list, go check that out. It is in the top right corner because we can see Millennium being in a lot of deck lists here. So then we have, by the way, these are the first place from every region, basically. First place Asia, second place Asia, and then we have first place from no, sorry, this was China, Japan, and then we have the Asia first place, RJ, also a known name, which once again is on the Snake Eyes strategy. And once again we see basically the same cards here in the deck, minus this Pilgrim Reaper tech that we have just witnessed. Other than that, we have a 1-for-1 for more consistency, playing 2 Triplectic Talents, 2 Fiendsmith Tract to open our Fiendsmith engine more often. Other than that, nothing too fancy here. Then we have the best one from North America, which is actually, so North America, Joey True. He qualified with Blue Eyes, very cool. We have this Bingo Machine Go to basically substitute for the Sage and the Maiden of White, so no PB Rise map. So we have two less consistency cards, and we put another consistency card in. So all in all, this deck is a bit less consistent than in the end, but we are playing a lot of hand traps, Ghost Ogres, Ash Blossoms, Effect Failures. We have triple Purge, we have triple Imperm. So I guess some games this player most likely bricked a bit, but had some hand traps to basically bridge this problem. And we have the Imduk, which you can use to get the level 1s into the graveyard, I guess, if you wanted to do that. And then we have obviously first place Latin America, Yu-Gi-Oh, which I also watched over the weekend because I was interested in seeing the Mermail Atlantean deck play, and it was very strong, I have to say. Here is his list with the Sekka Slide, which is basically Pot of Greed, but you can also then once again draw another card by placing one monster from your hand back onto the bottom of the deck, I guess. So this is basically a draw free, but afterwards you cannot activate any spell cards, which is why we only play Called By. And he explained that oftentimes if you go Sekka Slide, then the opponent will maybe go an Ash Blossom or maybe a Maxi, and then you can chain your Called By, so your Called By is not dead after using Sekka Slide. But then again, it's not very likely drawing these two cards together and having a few dead cards to get basically a draw 2 or draw 3. That's obviously insane. And yeah, I'm going first. This deck wins the game by just ripping hand cards and then seeing the opponent's hand and then preparing some negations via this Abyss Gaios, which is a skill drain. You have the Stealth Kraken, which can destroy something. And there are even more interruptions. You either have the Adrenaline for Monster Negate or this one for Spell Trap Negate. And because you know your opponent's hand, then you obviously already know what to prepare for. And this makes it even better. You normally also have the Infantry to destroy one. So a very strong and very cool deck. If I wouldn't expect Ryziel and or Malice to come out in next pack, I would definitely invest in this just for fun. Because I have to say, going first and going second, this looked kind of fun. And going second, this has the Poseidra, very, very strong. So very cool to see this perform here. And once again, I like this because this is just diversity, and that's nice. We have the first from Europe, Middle East, Ocean, Africa. So I think Europe got 2 invitations. So Quantal, which is from Joshua's team, also got an invitation. So we will see Joshua's team, the Snipe Hunters, being back at the World Championship, I guess. But we also have Jonas. I have already heard this name, who's playing a bigger Snake Eyes list, 46 cards with the Magician's Soul, with Fiendsmith and Paradise, which is not super usual. We have a Kashtira engine in here, which obviously if you go first, that's kind of nice. Going second, Fenrir can be kind of nice. Unicorn, not that much. And here in the extra deck, nothing too fancy, nothing too special, but Fiendsmith's Agnum Day. We have Quantals this year, where once again, Sekka Slide, we will see this in a lot of the Atlantean Mermail list, at least the ones we are taking a look at. Also playing Deep Sea Diva. I think this is used to get the Neptopus to the field, which is your best starter. So this is a bit more consistency, but he's not playing, I think, the Kaijus. Yeah, we have 2 Kaijus, 2 Gamma Seals here, which are not in this list basically. And once again, we have the Sekka Slide into Called By. And other than that, we have a Star Slayer, which I think wasn't in the list of Jude. But yeah, very interesting. And then once again, we have some of the top lists here, and I think we have some more lists that we can take a look at. Global Rank 3 was also playing Crystron, 2 different Crystron versions. Where is the difference? We are playing the Millennium Engine here. We are playing Fuva, so 1 less Fuva over here. And we have replaced this with question mark. We have less Nips here, so I guess this is just the player, I guess, in Ghost Ogre and the DD Crow. I guess if you face specific matchups, you want to change up your deck a bit. This is what happened here. And then we have Global Rank 4, another Snake Eyes list, nothing too special. Once again, the Pilgrim Reaper. I'm very interested in seeing what will happen with Snake Eyes. I've talked about this in the video where I talk about the ban list. Once again, this list we have already seen. There is another Snake Eyes list, this time around with the Sinful Soils, Betrayal, Severa, and there is a Tenpai list, so Tenpai is still here. I think it makes sense to play this with the Gold Sark and the Blaster. I am very surprised that we are not playing 2 Gold Sarks, just to have a bit more consistency. Then we have a Memento list, obviously. This might be, is this Josh? I'm not quite sure where he ended, but I know that he played a lot of Memento. Yeah, another good deck. Once again, here's a Mermail list, once again with Sekka Slide and a 1-for-1, so maybe a bit more risky. We're also playing the Driver package here, and then we have Jubel. People still playing Jubel. Okay, I really am sick of the deck, I have to say. Let me know in the comments what your opinion on this is. Here we have the Horus engine with the Crystron, but it seems to be that the top players play the Millennium engine with Crystron. Once again, we have the Millennium engine here. Triple DD Crow. I'm not quite sure what this is specifically tagged against, because a lot of the... Yeah, I guess you can also remove Crystron cards from the graveyard. You can remove Mermail cards from the graveyard. I guess it's just way more flexible than the Bestials, which obviously get against everything that is a Fiendsmith. You can remove Firestar, for example. Once again, Crystron, a lot of Crystron, I have to say, with Millennium cards, and this is the end of the decks that we currently have. So I'm a bit surprised that we don't see any Branded Despia lists here, but this might be because Branded Despia games tend to be very long, and having or needing to play very long games is obviously nothing that is great. When I watched Jude, he had some very short games where when going first, people just scooped when he opened with his mermail stuff, or when he basically ripped 2 cards out of the hand with the Moon and Glacier. You also obviously have your Deep Sea Minstrel, where you can take a look at the opponent's hand and remove something like a Nib, something like a Droll. But yeah, I have to say, all in all, I am pretty happy with the diversity of this meta. Good players are playing very different stuff, I have to say, and if we would have more lists here, we would definitely see also something like Branded Despia. There might be a Centurion list, also Stun, even though that's not a very cool deck, but it's still diversity. Let's see how this changes when we get Ryziel and Melis, but for now, this was the World Championship qualifier, and obviously I'm very hyped towards the World Championships. I honestly enjoyed watching, and you can let me know in the comments how your opinion on this is. I'm very interested. But I enjoyed watching the Master Duel part of the World Championship more than the TCG part, which I wasn't expecting, but that was actually the case. So I'm very hyped. Let's see what happens. But these are the best decks from the World Championship qualifier. Thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.